Hi, this is Joel Gabbay. This is my first video regarding hockey issues throughout the international world. Um, the major issue on everyone's mind is the lockout, the NHL lockout. It's having a trickle down effect globally. Um, People in the KHL, for example, are losing jobs. Same thing in the Swiss league, German league, so on and so forth. Um, Other players, NHL players who have, aspiring NHL players who have trained all summer long to try and make the league or have an improved season, they've got to be frustrated as well because, you work that hard only to not have a team to play for. And no one really wants to go travel overseas. I mean, let's be honest, the scenery in Russia isn't exactly pristine. Um, So the impasse continues to go on. Both the NHLPA and the NHL are not dealing with the major economic issues. They are kind of tiptoeing around the situation, hoping that if they discuss, minor issues such as, pension and, insurance issues, things like that, maybe it'll start some momentum, begin something good. But in reality, both of them know they're the elephants in the room. The NHLPA doesn't want to give up money. The NHL wants to save money, but neither side is really offering any proposal to kind of start something. They're both being stubborn. I understand the NHLPA hired Don Fear to make sure they didn't lose like last time under Bob Goodnow, but right now it's not. It's really making the NHL look very ugly. It's showing the business side of it, and it's supposed to be something that people could enjoy, and as something enjoyable. It doesn't have to. You don't want to look at it as a business. It's when most people think about sports, they think they enjoy the fact that it's people want to play to win. People enjoy the competitive part of it, not because they're making a salary off of it. That's why I think a lot of people enjoy watching March Madness basketball because it's just pure emotion. People are playing basketball because they love it. Same thing with Memorial Cup and in hockey, so on and so forth. So that's really damaging the game. A lot of people don't really want to watch the KHL either. The other thing is TSN is losing out big because their main thing in the winter is hockey. So and they can't really cancel that. They can't really just go and find something else to watch and put on television until they know the season is fully canceled. So they're having problems. Men like Bob McKenzie and Gino Reda, so on and so forth. They're stuck in the middle. They have nothing to talk about. It's got to be frustrating for them. Um, so the preseason has been canceled. That's obvious. The NHL lost approximately $100 million by canceling the preseason. Um, it's a decent amount of money. I mean, it's the amount of money that Zach Parise would make during his contract he signed with the Minnesota Wild this past summer. Um, in addition to that, today, October 4th, the NHL announced that the first 2 weeks of the season have been canceled. Now, that's not very. It's not very good news. That doesn't really send a shrill of optimism throughout the world. Um, Another major issue: the KHL is now going to be broadcasted on ESPN 3. They've announced that 5 games will be broadcasted. One of them featuring Alexander Ovechkin. Now, given the fact that the NHL and ESPN have yet to reach a deal since post lockout 2004, the fact that ESPN signed a deal with the KHL is a slap in the face to the NHL. That really what that says is Gary Bettman, we don't like you. We don't want to do business with you. So that's problematic, if you're a fan of the NHL. Um, Now, some teams will benefit from the lockout. Teams like Edmonton, Florida, Colorado, the young teams. But teams like Detroit and San Jose, aspiring to maybe win one cup before guys like Thornton, Datsuk, Zetterberg, Marlowe, Dan Boyle. They just get too old to win a cup, to do it by themselves. I mean, Datsuk's 35, Zetterberg's 33. You've got you've got Thornton, who's getting up there in age, and so I mean, I think there's a bit of a changing of a guard happening right now. Um, on that note, guys like Hopkins, Eberle, Hall, when he's healthy, they're going to be going down to the AHL, which is great news for the Oilers and the AHL. Also, Jeff Skinner will be playing in the AHL. You have Cody Hodgson, that's going to be captaining of the Rochester Americans for the Buffalo Sabres farm team. Um, the Hamilton Bulldogs, so they're going to be a very, very good team. They had 43 players at camp. They cut 14 just yesterday, October 3rd. So they have 29 left in camp. So and the Habs brass is there watching the entire training camp. Marc Bergevin is the general manager of that team. So he's making sure that he's developing the young guys. So it's going to be extremely interesting to watch. That's the thing, is that the NHL thinks, well, we lock out the season, we're going to get our fans back. But as I mentioned, it's just very ugly. It makes the NHL look very bad. The fact that they're caring so much about money, which is normal, it's a business, but making it so obvious is just not a very good PR move as far as I'm concerned. Now, people, in the U.S. they have the NBA. You have the Lakers, then the Heat, and the Thunder. They're gonna be great. Um, you have the NFL, which is just retardedly great at advertising and promoting and just engulfing everything in its path. It's dominant. The fact that there's the Canadian Football League in Canada, and no one really cares about the CFL. I mean, out west, yeah, you have Saskatchewan, Edmonton, Calgary, but Montreal, Toronto. I mean, it's just by sheer population, people go watch it. But the NFL is pretty popular. So I mean, the effect of the NHL not being here, being on television for Canadians is a big deal. I guess people will have to just start watching HBO television. I mean, but the AHL, the CHL, and the NFL will make up for that void. TVA Sports in Quebec announced that they're going to air 40 Hamilton Bulldogs games, regardless if the NHL comes back or not, this season. In fact, I just ordered that channel just today because of that, and I'd be perfectly content watching the Bulldogs instead of the Habs. I mean, it's like I said, the young talent is fun to watch, and you get to see the up and coming players. CHL, I mean, you have Alex Galchenyuk. He only has 2 points in 3 games for the Sarnia Sting, but he's getting his timing back as he missed all of last season. But he at times he has flat out dominated. There was one point he was playing on the power play, and he literally played all 5 positions except goalie, and he's been great defensively. He has a ton of moves. He's been launching the puck like great velocity off of his stick, but he's not hitting the net right now. But once he does, he's going to start scoring a lot of goals and a lot of numbers. Sarnia is not that good of a team either. A lot of people are saying, well, Mikhail Grigorenko, the big Russian that was supposed to go 1 or 2 overall in the 2012 draft, but didn't because of the Russian factor. Went 12th overall to the Buffalo Sabres. Now, he is right now leading the Quebec Majors. Well, I think he's second in scoring in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. and he's just flat out dominating. But the Q is, kind of not that great of a league for one, and for two, he has better line mates than Galchenyuk. A lot of people also don't really like Grigorenko because they find he's a bit soft. He's 6'3", but he doesn't. Galchenyuk drives the net all the time. It's a bit, it's a bit concerning considering he's hurt his knee before, but it's the type of players you want in the playoffs. The guys that go to the net, the guys that will do anything to win, not the guys that are chilling on the perimeter and trying to thread passes across crease. Another big thing, the World Junior Championship this year. Team Canada is going to be loaded if there's a lockout. Ryan Murray, the number 2 overall draft pick, the defenseman, he'll be back for Team Canada. You have Dougie Hamilton, Boston Bruins draft pick. He's a hell of a good defenseman. Who else do you have? You have Ryan Strome, Boone Jenner, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins could go. So they have a very good team. Actually, Habs prospect Charles Hudon of the Chicoutimi Sanguin, he had a hell of a good Canada-Russia Super Series this past summer, and Bob McKenzie has him listed as his number 2 second line left wing. He currently has an ankle injury, and he's playing through it. Actually, he's actually getting a lot of points, even though he's had a pretty badly sprained ankle only 4 weeks back. So you also got on other teams in the World Junior Championship. You have Malcolm Subban. He's probably gonna be the goalie. Nathan McKinnon. Who knows if he'll make it? He's projected to go number 1 overall this year. He's from the same town as Sidney Crosby. Actually, he's a centerman. He's plays for the Halifax Mooseheads. He's a very, very good center. He actually outplayed Grigorenko last playoffs and completely dominated him. Yakupov is eligible to play. So is Grigorenko. Philip Forsberg, Sweden. There's a Sebastian Kohlberg, the Canadiens draft pick. He's eligible to play for Sweden. Galchenyuk, Justin Folk, and the phenom of a beast, young defenseman Seth Jones, who is projected to go either 1 or 2 in this year's draft. He's just a ridiculously athletic defenseman. So he might play for the Team US. So, I mean, there's lots of things to look forward to, even if there is a lockout. And I think that the NHL, obviously the fans will come back, but it's just gotten ugly at this point. It's just fix the problem. I mean, anyhow. So I'm going to be doing multiple videos updating mostly news about the Montreal Canadiens, the Hamilton Bulldogs, the Canadiens prospects. I'll also be giving lockout updates, and anything that's worth noting. If I see any good young talent in the juniors that are catch my eye, or if there's players in the AHL that are just progressing at a great rate, you'll find out. So I'll be watching all of these leagues as much as I can, and I'll keep everyone posted. All right, thanks for watching.